How's it going, guys? Key of Shadow here, and this is going to be the first of 3 videos where I review the Season Pass DLC of Code Vein. I'm going to be looking at the visual design of the area, the rewards that you get, and of course the boss fight that you are paying for to begin with. And today's episode is going to be of the Hellfire Knight. So let's cut the bullshit and let's get into the first subject of the review, the visual design of the DLC. Now, it just seems like a desert at first when you're just like glancing at it, and I could agree with that. That's kind of what I thought when I first saw it. But as I gave it a little more thought, a little more time, and as I ran through it a few more times for certain reasons that I do not feel like getting into, it's annoying as fuck, but I think they did a real good job when they are doing with the visual design in this part. Like, they were able to take hot desert, sand, whatever, and they managed to make it look really damn good. Even this area that's coming up right here, it's a little area that was for a mini-boss, which, I'm not going to get into the mini-bosses here, but this area alone is probably one of my favorite looking spots in the whole dungeon, in the whole depths, whatever. The bright orange and blue just make this area really pop, and it looks super really good. It just, the whole depths as a whole from this DLC, I just love how they look. They were able to take dry ass desert and make it look really unique, in my opinion. And this might just be me being biased, but whatever, I don't really care. Even this little area, it looks a little more dry, but I like how it looks. It looks really good. Even the little area where you fight the Hellfire Knight, it's simple, but it works as an arena for the kind of boss fight that we are dealing with here. It just seems like they had a lot of fun, or at least they put a lot of effort into designing this area to make desert look good. So, visual design wise, I'd say this works. Now we're going to talk about the rewards, and how you get the blood veils, the weapons, just everything from this DLC is that you achieve these little things here, or these are things that you get for individual things, like beating the Hellfire Knight by taking no damage, beating the Hellfire Knight with a certain weapon and not letting your HP drop, having a certain partner, a certain blood code. You get certain outfits and such. And some of these rewards actually work pretty well. Hell, either visually speaking or functionally speaking, depending on your build. And then you have some rewards that are like, well, a pipe. I repeat, a fucking pipe. Now, the boss fight itself, the main event, and probably one of the big reasons why you even paid for this DLC. And, woo, boy, this is actually a really good boss fight. Both in design, like visually how he looks, and just the fight itself. It is a good-ass boss fight. Like, I'm someone that will talk to hell and back about boss fight design in a lot of games. Kingdom Hearts, Devil May Cry, any game that I play that has like these big boss fights, I will gladly gush or complain about how good or bad the boss is, either from a visual standpoint, a design standpoint, whatever. He's challenging, but he's doable, and depending on the kind of groove that you get into with the fight, he is so goddamn fun to fight. He's probably the one that I have fought the most out of all of the Season Pass bosses. And that's, well, 1, because of the rewards, but 2, I just really like fighting this guy, and I want to see if I can either beat my best time, or if I could just do it in a way that's a little more interesting. Like, my first time around, I think I had EO as a partner, but in the footage here, when I was getting the footage for this video, I decided to go on with Louis. I decided to run a little bit of a somewhat different-ish build than what I did in my stream. Different a little bit, but still comfortable. And throughout the whole time, yeah, sure, I got pissed off, but it's the same kind of pissed off where after you lose, you're like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. And I cannot help gushing about this guy enough. He's just a really solid boss fight. And I'm just rambling at this point because he's probably the best part, honestly. Like, obviously the boss that you're are wanting to fight to begin with, like the thing that you bought the DLC for, is going to be the best part, you would hope. And Hellfire Knight just knocks it out of the park with this boss. It's a fucking Dragon Knight. What is there not to love? Now we get to my final thoughts on the DLC. For $10, this is actually pretty solid. Sure, there are going to be some people that say, oh, it's just another area in the depths, blah, 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 blah. And I'll agree. When I first heard about DLC for Code Vein, I was hoping it was story DLC or something a little bit more than just another area in the depths. But for what you're paying for, this is actually really good, even for an area in the depths. There are annoying things about this, I'm not gonna lie, and even when I first played through it, I thought the Hellfire Knight himself was unfair, but after going through it another time or two and racking my brain on it, it's not that he's unfair, it's just that I wasn't really able to adapt to him fast enough when I initially fought him. But now, he's probably my favorite out of the three, and we're only just starting with this little review miniseries. With all of that being said, my final score for this DLC is an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love this fucking thing.